Hi, I'm John Mallos. Welcome to Connect with me here on Comcast 187 and 43.6, live on the showroom floor here on Me TV Fresno. Today, a topic that simply will not go away, at least anytime soon. We're talking about privatizing garbage in the city of Fresno on the residential side. Your phone calls are important, 265-4331. Weigh in on the big issue. Back in a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
It is your community day here on Me TV Fresno. Connect with me on Comcast 187 and 43.6, and an issue that simply will not go away, at least anytime soon. We're talking about privatizing garbage on the residential side. On the commercial side, it's already been privatized, but the city of Fresno is in such deep financial trouble, they're trying to get money out of that disposal fund, which is called garbage, of course, and they're trying to disperse that into the general fund. They're looking for money any way that they possibly can. Well, I'm going to be the moderator. We've got two guests today, one on one side of the issue, the other, of course, opposing, but it's an issue that's a hot topic in the city of Fresno right now. Let's go to the videotape and we'll tell you the latest of what's going on. There are 4 companies that have offered their bids to the city of Fresno, 4 private companies, and they are Mid-Valley Disposal, Allied Waste, Caglia Environmental, and Sunset Waste. Now, right now, the city is reviewing those bids that they got just within the past few days. In fact, on Friday. So this issue will go back to the city council sometime in mid-November as it stands right now. The last time the council met on this issue, they voted 4-3 in favor to see how much money it would cost to try to privatize the solid waste division here in the city of Fresno on the residential side. And they want to examine those bids from those 4 companies that I mentioned. Of course, at this point, it has cost the city of Fresno some $200,000 for the entire process, at least thus far. They're not done yet. They're going to go back to the city council, as I said. Live in our studio right now is Marina Magdalena. She is a union rep for the solid waste workers here in the city of Fresno, and Patrick Wiemiller, who has been on our show before. He represents the city of Fresno. Of course, Marina is on one side of the issue, Patrick on the other. We'll have a lively debate. We'll have your phone calls. Area code 559-265-4331 is the number. Back in just a moment.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the low price leading brands reliable advice place. The Whirlpool Dream Kitchen Get Yours Today place. Check this out. Right now, get huge savings on select Whirlpool appliances and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
So weigh in on the topic. 559-265-4331 is the number. We're talking garbage rates. How much will it cost you to privatize? Will the rates go up? Will they stay the same? They're never going to go down. It's kind of like the cost of gasoline. Once a gallon of gas goes up, it rarely comes down to a decent level, at least where it was once before. Marina Magdalena is here. She's a union rep. Hi, Marina. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And Patrick Wiemiller, you've been here before. You know the routine. You represent the city of Fresno. Okay, so why are you against privatizing? Let's start with that, Marina.
Because we have a division that is the top in its field. Our rates are lower than most cities in the state of California. We have a very fine-tuned, division of employees that pick up the garbage every day. The city has picked up garbage since its inception. 1936 is when the city was incorporated. So this is nothing that has ever been, outsourced to the to the private haulers.
Why should it not be outsourced now?
Because this isn't the answer to the city's budget problems. The city has for a very long time wanted to get its hands on this money. This isn't the first time, but this is the first time that they have thus gotten this far. The Solid Waste Division has an excess of $16 million in its reserve. The city has zero. So it's about money.
Right.
It's all about the money. And from the other aspect of it is that we believe that this, number one, this isn't going to get them out of it. Commercial didn't get them out of it, and the residential solid waste isn't going to get them out of it. They're still going to have the same issues.
Patrick, that's a great point. The commercial side went private, right? Did not bail the city out. What makes the city of Fresno, or the people of the city of Fresno, think that by privatizing the residential end of it, it's going to bail them out financially?
Well, it's certainly not the whole answer, but it has contributed to the help so far. The commercial solid waste is paying a franchise fee, and those dollars are being used to help, along with a lot of other
I guess
measures.
my point is the city's still $5 million in the hole, at least for this next fiscal year.
Right.
If not more.
Right. And so, again, it's not the only answer. There are several measures that are being undertaken, but it's certainly one that contributes and can contribute several $1 million a year to the general fund.
Is this nothing more than a money grab for the city?
I don't believe so. For one thing, that the reserves that Marina accurately identifies, that $16 million in reserve for the residential solid waste fund, is it in and of itself cannot be used or transferred over to the general fund, but it can be used to pay for some perpetual responsibilities that are part of the residential solid waste
What
fund.
does that mean, perpetual responsibilities?
Well, we have ongoing responsibilities. For instance, we have a landfill that we used to operate that's now closed. It's still an EPA site, so it has groundwater and gas remediation that needs to continue, and that's to the cost of about $1 million a year. And so those are the sorts of costs that go on. The city also retains responsibility for achieving recycling goals, and so we pay for that program as well out of those dollars, and so that's to carry us forward a number of years.
You agree with that?
I agree with the money that he's talking about, yes.
Okay, we've got a phone call. Good morning, you're on Connect with Me. How are you this morning?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good. What's your question?
My question is, how can a private business has to make a profit, and whereas the city-run cannot make a profit, the rates are going to be higher in the long run. The city of Fresno or the citizens are going to pay more money in the long run.
Go ahead, Patrick.
All it is the general fund, the franchise fee that they collect goes into the general fund to pay more high salaries. Why don't they lower the salaries, eliminate the jobs?
Well, one of the actions as a part of this franchising is, unfortunately, that there is some elimination of jobs. But in addition, there are other steps being taken, including making requests of different bargaining associations to give some wage concessions. So that does involve lowering salaries that you mentioned. As we said, this franchising isn't the only answer, but one of several to be able to maintain a balanced budget within the city.
But I disagree with that.
Why?
Because what Patrick is talking about in terms of salaries, it doesn't affect the general fund. This specific pot of money that we're talking about is what we call an enterprise fund. And the only way that you can affect the general fund in terms of when you talk about cutting salaries are those salaries that have a direct impact on the general fund, such as police and fire. Enterprise funds such as the airport is an enterprise. All of public utilities is an enterprise. Fax is an enterprise. So cutting salaries and deleting jobs is not going to save the city any money.
Okay, you're talking about, the rates will go up if you privatize, but quite frankly, Marina, the rates have also gone up under the city's watch.
Yes, they have. And historically, rates will go up, have gone up in the city. And one of the reasons
So is that not a valid argument then?
Well, it isn't the only argument, though,
Okay.
because when you look at the rates, while they have put some language in their proposals to cap rates at certain levels, the rates will always continue to go up. But you also have to look at the company as in it for the profit. The profit is for the company. So in order for, when you look, overall, how much are they going to go up? The city has a utility advisory board that recommended almost 2 years ago to reduce the rates over a 5-year period, 3% per year for 5 years, which would be an equivalent to a 15% reduction. City never took action on it, so therefore, we could have already reduced the rates, but the city chose not to do that.
Chip in before we go to
I
break
want to
here
be
real
clear
quick.
that I'm not ready to concede the point that rates are going up as a result of privatization or franchising. That's exactly why we did the RFP, so we could get the
RFP meaning
request for proposals from
Right.
private companies so
Right.
that they would give us their pricing, and that's what we're reviewing right now. So we're not conceding that rates are going up as a result of this process.
but more than likely, it's reasonable to think that they will.
Well, I think what we have to evaluate is how would prices do whether we retain the work within the city with its current forces versus what are the opportunities if we outsource. Your caller pointed out, well, the company needs to make a profit. We recognize that. They'd also have to pay a franchise fee, and so we're wondering.
Private business is profit driven.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're wondering is, can they still deliver through other opportunities they may be able to exploit or efficiencies or whatever that might be able to allow for lower costs than what we have currently, and the process will prove that out.
Okay,
But this isn't about lower prices. One has to remember that.
Okay.
The pricing has nothing to do with this.
We're going to pick up on your point when we come back after the break. Marina Magdalena is here. She's a union rep. Patrick Wiemiller is also here on the other side of the issue representing the city of Fresno. We want you to continue to weigh in. 559-265-4331 is the number.
Nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina in the morning. Nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina in the morning.
And a phone call is coming in now for our two guests. 559-265-4331 is the number. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. At least I think you're there. Nope. I guess they got tired of waiting. Marina, you had a point before we went to break about the rates. You said this isn't about the rates. What's this all about?
This is about the money. This is about the city wanting to get their hands on a franchise fee from the private businesses, and that money will go directly into the general fund. That is what this is all about. It has nothing to. What they did is they put language in the request for proposal that says we want you to reduce the rates by X amount, and we'll look at your proposals, because they have to do that in order to justify this.
Let's take this phone call. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. What's your question?
Yes, statistically, when cities privatize, 4 or 5 years later, they regret it. And how come they don't contact other cities that privatized and found out that they made a mistake because the prices went up 30 to 40%? The League of Cities, they can find out all this information, and once they check with other cities, what the result is. And anytime a company or a city sells assets, it's because of poor management looking into it.
All right. Go ahead, Patrick. Respond.
Well, certainly we have talked to other cities that have, and we recognize there are situations where franchising doesn't work out, and there are situations where it does. And so one lesson we got from doing that background and research was a lot has to do with how you maintain that relationship going forward, how closely you watch for performance on the franchisees' parts. And so we've definitely taken those notes for our playbook.
Okay, before we run out of time in this segment, I want to put some information up on the screen. Privatizing garbage. We talked about the city council. The last time they met, they voted 4-3 in favor of examining this issue with the private companies. These are the ones that were in favor of Andreas Borges, Larry Westerlin, Lee Brand, and Clint Olivier. Now, Borges and Lee Brand, now they did take campaign money from some of these private disposal companies, some of the private garbage companies. Do you think that makes a difference in the way that they voted?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, they did take money, and I don't know that
Borges took around $19,000,
but I don't know if
took
it,
about 4 or 5.
yeah, I don't know that it makes a difference, but I mean, we also contribute money, and everybody points that out to us, as unions, and we do, but it isn't about, I mean, I don't know that it did, I don't know that it didn't.
And those are the council members that voted against examining this issue. Sal Quintero represents this area around Ventura TV, Blong Jong, and Oliver Baines. Another phone call. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. Well, you know what? The phone doesn't work, so we're not going to take it. Go ahead, continue your point.
But one of the things, but I do want to point something out. Sal Quintero also made a motion to the council to let this go to the voters and let the voters decide whether they want their garbage privatized or not.
Okay.
And it was
Should
it was
go to the
voted down.
voters? Why can't the voters decide this issue?
Well, I guess it could. I don't think it should, because I believe in the representative form of government myself.
Okay. Workers affected. We saw the graphic up there before we came back. It's going to affect 86 drivers, supervisors, office staff, recycling division, mechanics, dispatch, operation cleanup, of course, here in the city of Fresno. So a lot of people will be affected by this.
That's correct.
Right.
They will lose their jobs.
How many?
All of those will lose their jobs.
All of
I
them?
mean, all of the
86 drivers?
All 86 drivers will lose their jobs.
You're sure about that?
I'm positive.
Well,
Do you agree with that?
Well, we have asked for the proposals to include providing pickup employment or replacement employment for the drivers, and as we did with the commercial solid waste. And I point out that in the city of Fresno, across the board, we've laid off over 900 workers altogether, and except for the solid waste workers, no one else had a landing place.
Yeah. Okay, phone call here. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. Your question?
Yes, I think they should just leave everything how it is and cut the mayor's pay out.
Want to respond to that, Patrick?
Well, the mayor does an incredible amount of work. I could tell you that. I can at least personally attest for the fact of the great long hours she puts in, and whether you agree or disagree with her, she is very hardworking, and I think she's entitled to her salary. I don't think she's overpaid a bit.
I think they should take everybody's pay and cut everybody's pay and leave the workers where they are, and think about cutting everybody else's pay.
Well, the leadership has taken cuts in pay as well. We led that voluntarily. So
Yeah. You want to say something? You want to chip in?
I do. I've lived in Fresno all of my life. And I recall, back in the 80s, when our council members got like $150 a month and the mayor got, they were stipends is what they received. And today, our council members make, close to $70,000 a year. The council president makes over 70, and the mayor makes over 100. But my point,
you know what? If you combine all of those salaries, it's still not going to get us out of this mess.
No,
even if you
you're
eliminate
right.
all their
You're
salaries.
right. No, but
I'm not sticking up
right.
for how much they make.
No.
I'm just pointing out.
But my point is that there was a concept in our country years back that when we ran for office, we ran as a civil servant. We were giving back to our community. We changed the directions over the years in that area, and it's no longer that way. And you're right; that's not going to make a big difference in saving any of this.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that the leadership of our city of Fresno over the last 12 years or so, and I'm not going to put the blame on her.
Right.
That she's the cause of this. But what I wanted to say is why we are in this mess is because they made a lot of very foolish decisions. They made decisions for a lot of the bad, maybe the reasons were good, but they were not good, solid financial decisions. And whoever was telling them to co-sign for loans that had nothing to do with the city business, I don't know why they even took some of those things under advisement.
Let's take this quick call before we go to break. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. Your question, quickly.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Yes. I would like to ask him a question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead, quickly. Turn your TV set down, though. Please,
Okay.
please.
The question is, I want to find out if they realize how many people that are being paid union wages throughout the state of California that's destroying this state, and how many people that are employed and making a pittance. I mean, these people are bleeding us dry. I mean, the teachers in the state of California keep crying for more money, more this, more that. I mean, I am a taxpayer. How much do I have to pay these people to get out of my hair? I mean, they are destroying this state. And as far as donating money to people, to the Democratic Party, they are a huge delivery of money to them.
All right. Thank you. We got your point. Marina, quickly, 20 seconds, respond to it, and we got to go to a commercial.
Well, I disagree with him. You know, the wages are not huge wages. The wages are what they are. They're competitive salaries, you know, that are all across any segment of the population. You look at private and public when you do this.
Right.
So, I mean, people say this, and it's sad that they have given, you know, it's a political agenda on the other side to say that, you know, that these individuals that work for the city are breaking it. It's not that.
Okay, got to go to break. We'll come back with more of our conversation in a moment.
Do you like me?
Just like me.
Like Me TV Fresno on Facebook. Get the latest news, interact with others, watch videos, become a fan of me. Exclusively brought to you by Ventura TV.
All right, we're back with our two guests, Marina Magdalena and Patrick Wiemiller of the City of Fresno. I want to put up some more information up on the screen. City of Fresno now, this is what's going to happen if we go private in terms of garbage on the residential side. You'll look up on the screen. You sell the services to a private company. Company pays that city franchise fee for about $2 million a year, roughly speaking. Then the city uses that money for other things. The quick response from you, Marina, is that legal?
I think it's ethically wrong. I don't know that it's not legal.
Okay, I'm talking about Prop 218, Prop 26.
Yeah. You know, when the city was incorporated, the charter says that, you know, these things, this money has to be used for this. So in franchising it out, privatizing it out, now you're going to divert money that Prop 218 says you need to keep for trash. So they're going to divert trash money and use it elsewhere outside what we feel should be used within the concept, the confines of trash.
Your response?
Yeah, I believe it is legal because there's been hundreds of cities around the state do this same approach, and if it was going to be challenged legally, it would have been done so a long time ago.
Okay. Some more information up on the screen. Let's get off this one now. We've been on this one for a while. How about privatizing? City officials claim the rates will be cheaper. City officials also claim the services will be more efficient and there will be more competition. That true?
I would say we have the opportunity. We're in a request for proposals to find out if rates could be cheaper. I'm very proud of the crew that's doing the job currently, and I think they're a pretty efficient crowd. So I think our efficiency will be is remain to be seen. But I'm proud of the crew that works now, and competition. Actually, we have competition at the RFP level. And are able to compare that against our current forces.
Okay, we're going to take these one at a time. We're not going to go back to back. Let's go solid waste division. Okay, right now we've got 3 containers that are being picked up curbside once a year. Of course, we've got disabled services. We've got also they pick up the used motor oil. So you guys talk about this. This is what the solid waste division does now, and those services will go away?
They could. I don't know. You know, it depends on how they bid and if the private companies will continue, you know, to offer that same service. It just kind of depends. You know, I want to
go ahead.
In terms of the rates. You know, they claim, you know, the rates may go down, but inevitably they're going to go up. I mean, we all know this. We have.
Okay, but that's your opinion. We don't really know that.
Well, they put that in the RFP.
Okay.
They put provisions in the RFP that allow them the rates to go up X amount of percentages per year, And then every fourth year, they can go up as high as 5% as long as they prove that they have their operating costs. Do you tell me that you're not going to prove that your operating costs went up? Come on.
John, I want to
Go
state
ahead.
unequivocally on those four forms of service that you described that those are going to remain. Whether the city continues to do the work or the private franchisee does the work, all four will continue. The one thing that we've looked at, and we would be looking at that, whether we kept the work internally or a franchisee is the curbside once a year pickup, we will make sure it's as good or better. We're looking at ways of improving that program, not
What about the
eliminating
used
it.
motor oil? I mean,
Yeah,
that's a pretty
that's-
good pickup.
That's part of the requirement on the request for proposals is they would continue that service.
Go ahead.
But here's my deal. Why didn't they let the city employees bid for this? See, if it's about money, if it's about efficiency, if it's about cutting costs, so I say this has nothing to do with the cost, then they should have allowed the city to put in a bid.
Okay, another call before we check out for today. Good morning, you're on Connect with Me. What's your question?
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, this is the connection with me in TV.
Yeah, this is Connect with Me. You're on the air. You got to go quick because they can hear you. Hurry, hurry, hurry.
Sir, during the time when these councilmen make mistakes regarding where they privatize garbage and then they privatize other stuff, what does the council get a $2 million insurance bond when they make mistakes instead of the city paying for it? The city council and everybody that makes decisions should be insured and get that money out of the insurance bond they have to pay in. Because when I was in business, I had to have a $2 million bond. If I made a mistake or caused problems, I pay for it. The city councils and all these individuals should get a bond for themselves, $2 million each, and mayor and everybody else.
Okay,
When
thank
when
you.
the-
I appreciate your comments. Go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, and we do require a performance bond of any major contractor, including what these franchisees would be. They do have a performance bond in place of several $1 million.
Okay, quickly, we want to put up the reserve fund. We talked about this earlier. On the residential side, there's $16 million in there. On the commercial pickup side, there's about $12 million. These are not exact figures. We all know that. These are like rough estimates. And so if you add them up, there's about $28 million. What's wrong with the process now? I mean, look at all that money that's in the reserve fund. The city of Fresno wishes they had that money in the general fund as a reserve.
Right. Well, part of the money is necessary for reserve, just as like equipment replacement funds because of maintaining the landfill, as I'd said before, and also just because of other business. In some cases, some of the money landed there because of resolution with outside contracts that we had with other operations where we were able to bring back some money into the fund that had previously been spent out.
Right.
So, and then we do our rate setting according based upon not only the cost of operations, but the amount of reserves.
How about the old adage, if it's not broken, don't try to fix it? The system isn't broken.
But it isn't about anything but the money.
I-
They want this money. If you go back,
Go ahead.
I pulled out stuff from, early 2000 and even previous to that. Mayor Patterson looked at privatizing. Not only did they look at privatizing solid waste,
Right.
they even looked at privatizing wastewater.
All right,
so
quickly,
it's
yeah.
about these are enterprise monies.
You don't want us to get cut off.
No.
Okay. Allied Waste is one of the companies that's offering a bid. This was in the Fresno Bee when? What day?
Yesterday.
It was a flyer.
Yes.
Right, from Allied Waste. What do you make of this?
Well, I question the timing of this.
Because of-
and they also have a commercial.
Why do you question the timing?
Well, the bid process closed on Friday, and then on Monday this is out. Why?
Okay. Marina, got to come back. Patrick, you
Thank
got
you,
to come
John.
back. You guys were both very professional and very informational. I really appreciate it. Patrick Wiemiller and Marina Magdalena on the garbage issue. We're back tomorrow. Connect with me on MeTV Fresno. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.